Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are here for the next episode of the podcast where we're featuring a Q&A discussion between someone who has already successfully navigated the journey from admin to developer, and her name, I believe, I hope that's the right pronoun, is Elwin.
Yeah.
And we're discussing is with Azeem as well, who is still on that journey, going from admin to developer. So just a few points of order. Most things that we do in this podcast are discussion based. If you do have something, a question or anything in the chat, you can post it, but I can't promise we'll be able to get to it. And That's about it. We'll post the link on the recording so anybody that wants to watch afterwards is able to do so as well. So without further ado, let's get to the introduction pieces. Elwin, please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey so far, but we're going to dive deeper later.
Okay. Well, Chris, thank you for having me on here. To be very honest, when you invited me to come on here, your podcast and talk, I was really excited. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? Anyway, I'm here. I just wanted to give shout outs to my boss, my director, Byron. He's on here, also listening. And good morning to everybody that have joined us. I really appreciate you taking the time. So hey there, everyone. Again, Chris, thanks for having me. For me, my journey started in healthcare, started with a passion for helping others. So I went through nursing school, got my bachelor's, and went on to get my master's as a nurse practitioner. And then I worked for some time as a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner. And those years gave me a very deep understanding of challenges in healthcare. And so, well, let's move on to tech. Let's talk about tech now. So I first got curious how technology could improve healthcare when I started using the Epic EMR systems. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, Azim, you're familiar. This is like a software that we use to chart patient information, communicate with providers and other team. And so it showed me the power of digital solution, basically making patient care smoother and more efficient. So I stumbled upon ServiceNow, like all through this Epic EMR systems, I stumbled upon ServiceNow. I used as an end user, very interested. And I was like, let me look more into this. So a good friend actually told me about the Next Gen program through ServiceNow. And I applied and I got in. And you know, it's one of the life-changing, I would say it's a story for another day. Um, when I got into the program, meeting everybody from the community, to the instructors, to people that work in service now, I got more and more interested after we started taking the class. It was a very intensive 10-week course. So this is how it started for us in the Next Gen program. So we started off with the administration course where we went through like knowing about the platform, the CSA. So I started off that, and then we do have different pathways. People, you can be a developer. Hey, by the way, I passed my CAD. I just wanted to say that out there. I passed, and so I'm very excited. And so I took my administrator course first. They still give you access to the platform. So I continued to learn, developments. I took the course on there, some scripting, from Code Academy. And then while I was doing all of this, um, before like studying for my CSA, I was actually also applying for jobs. And so what I did was, and one of the things that ServiceNow teaches you is to network. They help you, they give you all the resources, they bring the employers, they do all the stuff, but you have to go there and find a job. And so I made sure I took absolute advantage of the resources that they gave us. I went on LinkedIn. In healthcare, a lot of us are not on LinkedIn. It was a new journey for me. So I went on there. I was like looking for jobs. I was networking, genuine networking. That's what I tell people. Don't just go and send somebody like a message and that's really it. You need to start, like their posts, be interested in what they're doing, look on their profile. And that's what I did with my director. I told him, I said, I wasn't stalking you, but I was really interested And I was very excited to see somebody who was a registered nurse or from a nursing background and doing ServiceNow stuff. So I sent him a message. Actually, it was weird because he had a premium account, so I couldn't send him a message directly. And so I saw his email, went and sent him an email directly and told him about this opportunity. He was very, very kind. And he told me that his manager was going to be hiring. So I was going to hear something back from him. And I really did hear from a recruiter. And that's where I am today. God willing, I'll be starting my job on Monday as a ServiceNow developer. Very excited with the healthcare system. And so back to my story, just to try to get me back on track. So when I finished the administrator course and preparing for my CSA, while we were taking the course, I was very interested in JavaScript. So I went ahead and did through Code Academy. Once I was done with that, I said, you know what, let me just go with the same pace. You know, the first time when you pass your CSA, you're very excited. You have so much energy. You just want to keep going. That's what I was doing. So a lot of intense studying for the development. And I reached out if I had any questions. People were in the community. I asked them. Kalisha Moore, fantastic developer. She has a project that we were working on. So giving us real hands experience. And also in the next gen program, we did a lot of like hands-on stuff. So we had a final project, we had a capstone project, and during my interview sessions, I spoke to what I had done, the projects that I had done, because a lot of people say, hey, you know, what do I say? You know, what kind of experience do I use? Speak to the projects that you've done. Talk passionately about it. Let these like hiring managers know you love what you do or what you're bringing in, your experience, your background. And a lot of people also say, what skill sets? Like, you know, I never had an IT background. Like, what do I say? You do have some skill sets. Speak to those like skill sets. So, for example, communication. Did you work as a server like over years, like in a restaurant? You have customer service. Like, did you work in healthcare as a nurse? We have a lot of empathy, critical thinking, you know, attention to details. Like, speak to those things and let them know you were very passionate about that. Anyway, switching to into healthcare from IT was a big move for me. Definitely was a big move. But my background in nursing helped me a lot. And like I told you guys, attention to details, critical thinking, and knowing what end users like we really needed as nurses, as healthcare providers, where it's actually really super valuable. Let me put it that way as I step into my ServiceNow developer role, because this is for a healthcare system that I'll be working with. So with my background and with the experiences that I have, I know that I'll be able to bring all this together now as a developer. And again, shout outs to the next gen programs through ServiceNow. It was a life-changing moment for me. The resources, the trainings, the community that they've prepared me for both my admin and now developer role
Mhm.
has been life-changing. The networking opportunities, gold. I've met some really great people in ServiceNow, and every single day I continue to network with them. Really nice. And now I'm thrilled that as I'm about to work as a developer, I'm kind of like, let me put it this way, I'm excited and I'm just ready to like get in and dive in. Looking back, I'm just really blown like away by how much you can achieve in like if you're really open to new opportunities, let me put it that way, and keep learning. And one of the things about me is I like to be challenged, I like to learn. Um, I ask questions. Chan is on here. She was my TA, now a very good friend. And, you know, I'm not afraid to ask questions. Every opportunity that ServiceNow gave me, I jumped into it and I seized that opportunity. So to anyone on here, out here thinking about jumping into ServiceNow or into IT, this is my advice. Very simple. Go for it. Go for it because your unique experience and skills are your superpower. Okay, embrace the change, stay curious, ask questions, and watch how far you'll go. And
Oh,
that's
that's
all I have
incredible.
to say. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot. I made some notes. I'd
Uh-huh.
like to dive a little deeper into some of it, but let's send
Okay.
it over and Azim kind of go through your current journey, where you're at, and then Azim, if you can outline the next goals, and then I'll come back at you with some questions, Elwin.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning, Elwin. Very
Yeah.
inspiring. Really appreciate your time,
Uh-huh.
and wow, what a journey you have. My name is Azeem Nazir. I'm working with the federal government here in Canada. I've been 20 years ITSM, ITIL veteran,
Okay.
being ITIL trainer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey with ServiceNow started in 2015 when my previous company brought in ServiceNow, replacing another ITSM tool.
Mm-hmm.
I learned ServiceNow on the job, and about 2.5 years back, when I was using ServiceNow as an end user, and then I decided, okay, let's now learn the back end of it, and that's when I did my CSA. And last year I had the privilege to go into knowledge conference, K23 Vegas. I won golden ticket there, and then I
Oh,
came back enthusiastic, and I actually did 9 mainline certification, including CAD,
mhm.
SPM, CSM.
Oh, sorry, you kind of cut out there. Was that just me, or
No, mine is working fine.
was it
I can
okay? It was
hear you.
just me. Keep going, Azim. And just
Okay,
to mention, shout out on those 9 certs. I think that's more than me. So good for you.
thank you.
Keep going.
So, uh, what I mentioned that in our previous podcast that experience will come later. Like Chris mentioned to me, he says what you did was great in a way that I took the opportunity that I had the golden ticket, so I will do the certification now and add on hands-on experience to my like resume later on, because not every day you get the opportunity to do those free courses. So I took that opportunity, so now I'm
So
kind of.
sorry, that's two things then. I'm hearing that you had two golden tickets, one to go to Knowledge 2023, so
Mhm.
free pass, and then another one to take courses, on-demand ServiceNow courses for a year. Okay,
Yes.
so just if you hear golden ticket, know that it doesn't always apply to both.
Yes. Yeah, this year I think they didn't give the golden ticket. So last year we were lucky we got it. So for 1 year it's like your free pass to do any course you want. So that's what I did. So now I'm kind of transitioning myself from admin role into developer. So that's what inspired me to go out in the community. And like you mentioned, ServiceNow, great community. All the seniors like Chris himself and other like they are always willing to help.
Oh,
Whenever
that's
I need help, I message. They're ready to reply back. And also network events, like earlier in the call, Chris asked me on June 13 I'm coming to Fed Forum. So yes, those are the great networking events to meet seniors, get their career advice and move on. So yeah, very inspiring. So
that's really great to hear.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot. Let me just do a quick recap
Okay.
for both of you. So,
Yeah.
Elwin went from healthcare to IT,
Mm-hmm.
went through the Next Gen program, has passed her CSA and CAD, so
Yeah.
Certified System Administrator, Certified
Yeah.
Application Developer, to help support that. She went through
Mhm.
some coding courses via Code Academy as well as the ServiceNow Now Learning ones. She's
Mhm.
also leveraged a lot of networking, including LinkedIn. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if you went to some events or anything, but we'll cover that later.
I did. Yeah.
And then now she's gone from admin to developer, and her developer role is starting on Monday
One
next
day. Yeah.
week. So, yes, her first Monday in June of
Yeah.
2024. So, congrats on that.
Thank
To
you.
recap for Azim, he's going through his journey. He started in 2015
Mhm.
through the Knowledge Conference of 2023 through a golden ticket, which allowed him free entrance to just the conference. Still had to fly there himself, still had to pay all the food and IBET, all that. And then one of the things that were offered to some people outside of Knowledge 2023 or at the end of it was a golden ticket towards Now Learning, which allowed you to take as many on demand courses as you wanted. He's took full advantage of that.
Mhm.
and has 9 mainline certifications now. So
Wow.
that's incredible. So
Incredible.
this speaks to the two different or the multiple ways that you can kind of get there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
your journey, Elwin, was unique to you and as unique as you. And
Mm-hmm.
the same is true for Z. So if you're hearing something that, oh, my journey is different, and maybe I'm headed down the wrong path,
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily think that you're headed down the wrong path. If you're still working towards and seeing progress towards your
Yeah.
goals, then you're on the right path for you. I
Yeah.
can't go from healthcare to IT, nor can I go and get 9 mainline certifications in a year through a golden ticket.
Yeah.
So my journey is also different from both of them. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we were all okay with that and understand that everybody's journey is going to be different, but
Mm-hmm.
we want to deliver those outcomes and make sure that uh, you've got progress shown towards your goal. So you have to define your goal, come up with a plan to achieve it, and then measure your progress. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Elwin, so you
Yeah.
mentioned that you have gone from admin
Mm-hmm.
to developer. Now, just recap your journey to admin very quickly, if you could. So, how did you land that first job?
Wow.
Like, can
That's
you describe the application process? How many places did you apply? That kind of a thing.
okay. No problem. I would love to speak and share about that. So before I would say 2 weeks before we graduated from the Next Gen program, I started studying for my CSA. Luckily for us, we were one of the first cohorts to do our presentation. So that kind of like got off my back. I was done. I had a really incredible team that I was working with. And so once I was done, I started applying. So I did a total of like 70 plus applications. And the applications that I did were not all on LinkedIn. I didn't go on Indeed. You know how you search on Indeed, Google. I didn't do that. I went directly on the company websites. So majority of my applications came from there. I did not do third party applications. I didn't use a recruiter. Everything was by myself. So ServiceNow actually helped us with our resume build and our LinkedIn. They did a lot of that. They have office hours for that. And so I took advantage of that. So remember that when you are applying for jobs, you have to make sure you tailor your resume to every single job description. First of all, read the job description, make sure that you have the qualities that you are looking for. And so once you're done with that, then you go ahead and you tailor your resume to that. And so you know about the ATS system, they talk so much about it. Make sure your resume is ATS friendly, first of all. And once you're done applying, I tell people don't stop there. Reach out to the people, like the person who posted. Go on LinkedIn, see who is working for that company. Read about the company, first of all. Look at their vision, look at their mission. That's one of the things I did. Although I was targeting healthcare systems, I was open to really working with anybody. So when I saw this company, I went on there, I read about them, very excited about what they do, their mission, their vision. I said, oh my goodness, this would be a dream come true, with a healthcare background and now as a ServiceNow developer. Anyway, so after that, I started learning the developer courses, on demand, self-paced, but kind of like intense. I was doing it really intense. And yesterday I was talking to my TA. I was in the library. I set time aside. You have to, create a schedule or create what is it called? You have to create a schedule. Basically, if you have a family, I do have family, I have children. So you have to make time for all of these, step aside and really get into it to do all of these things. Because applying for jobs, it's really a lot of time. I tell people it's a lot of time to get on your resume and fix and tailor and do all of that. They're like, did you use one resume? I did not. It's still the same information. Nothing has changed, but I make sure that the job description is like really tailoring to what my resume. And another thing that I did was After I applied for this job, I reached out, some of them with silence, some of them, people didn't get back to me. LinkedIn, sometimes you say hello, people don't respond. Don't take that personal because people have their lives, people are busy, they are working. And so when they reach back, fine. If they don't, guess what? Some people don't even go on LinkedIn a lot. So they will not even see it. But I realized that in the tech world, you have to utilize LinkedIn a lot. That's where all of them are. The hiring managers and stuff, the recruiters. That's where they really are. In my past life as a nurse practitioner, a registered nurse, you go on the website, you apply, technically you hear from somebody, but it's different. So I had to take all of that advantage and do that. And so another thing that I'll also share is that while I was from admin to developer, while I was studying, I also formed like a study group with some of my friends. So we do talk out things and reach out to people that have already done this. Okay. And like I said, the community, we have Kalisha, we have Glenn, my mentor, Chan, all these people out there. Reach out to them. If you don't have any questions, if you have any questions, technical questions, ask them, how do I navigate this? Chris Shu is also here, ServiceNow Magician. If you have any questions, people are ready to help. You will be blown by the amount of information that people want to give out. And so taking advantage of all, and of course, a lot of encouragement. You need to find a mentor also, okay? Azeem, you have to find a mentor in the ServiceNow community because it's very, very important. They guide you, they've been through this, they know what's going on. And so they will guide you in different pathways, like any questions that you have, they are ready to help. So again, back to my question, 70 plus applications. I had a couple of interviews and also interview with my now employer. And I was very excited to get an offer and opportunity from them. Very excited because everything about that company is what I stand for, what I want to do, to be able to help other healthcare providers and the patients as a whole. So,
That's amazing. Okay, so
yeah,
I'm really glad you kind of gave some of the real world numbers
yeah.
around this. So in some points in my journey, I too applied over 100 times to different places.
Mm,
So sometimes I think people apply, even 5 or 10 times, and you don't even hear back on all 10 of those. Maybe my first 15 job applications get no response at all, and they get a
mhm.
little discouraged
Yes.
and perhaps consider or even do actually give up. So
Mm.
you applied for over 70, and that was just to get to the admin role. Is that accurate?
No, actually,
Okay.
I was looking for developer roles.
Oh,
Initially,
okay.
yeah, initially I
Okay.
did some admin applications, but once I started learning the developer stuff and getting ready for that, I was like, okay,
Hmm.
this is what I really want to do. So let me
Nice.
look into that. Although there are so many pathways, the business process analyst role. So I was like learning different things on the platform. I was really open for anything. And so with ServiceNow, they did have a few positions, technical consultants. And that's what I tell people, do not focus only on one thing. You have passion, you're on the platform, you've learned about the platform. If you want to go the developer route, for sure, yes. But if you're not finding a job, be open. There's a technical consultant role, customer success manager, so many positions. Look into those. People just focus on one. And like you said, Chris, they apply and they give up. You will get a lot of rejection emails, but do not let that discourage you. Go ahead and keep applying
Hmm.
and then reach out to real people, have a conversation. Also, I wanted to mention this. I went to my first snack event in North Texas. This was while I was taking the course, okay? And that was even how I heard about my company now, Ilar Karen, and other companies, Cardinal Health, Optimum Healthcare. Like I network with real people. I was really ready. And so when I got there and I heard what people were doing, things that they were doing on the platform, like their positions. I came back with more knowledge. Those snack events, do not take them for granted. Go to those snack events. Well, first of all, tell your bosses and ask them a day off for those events because that's where all the magic happens. People want to see real faces and not just only on LinkedIn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. That's great. So a couple other things I just wanted to highlight. You also focus your applications directly on the company websites.
Yes.
So while you have the options of LinkedIn, Indeed, other job recruiting sites, that's another avenue that you can leverage
Mhm.
for these applications. And like you had said earlier, Elwin, you have to make sure also that your resume is ATS friendly,
Yeah.
meaning you
Mhm.
want to get through those screening processes or any of these automatic screening processes as well. There's help on the web around that. Now, not
Mhm.
everybody on the call or even listening in later will have that resume building or that LinkedIn profile guidance directly from ServiceNow. I'm glad you had that opportunity, and I'm really happy to hear that you leveraged it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
If you don't have that option, there are other avenues.
Mhm.
We did a resume building and resume review episode earlier. There's tons of resources out there. So make
Mhm.
sure that you go through it and just to have that cursory resume review piece done. And then also make sure that your resume is reflected in your LinkedIn profile because,
Yeah.
as Elwin learned, that's where the IT people hang out when it
Yeah.
comes to social media. And I'll say this, I have zero social media except for LinkedIn. And even then, I was
Mhm.
reluctant to
Yeah.
get that. I used to have, and I'll date myself, but I used to have Facebook and things of
Uh-huh.
those that. But that's kind of now I'm only really on LinkedIn. And even then, like you'd mentioned, some people just don't see it or reply.
Yeah.
I'm not on there all the time,
Mhm.
so sometimes it'll be a week and I haven't really looked at it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also
And
really like to hear that you do your reach out after you apply. That's a critical step too that I think a lot of people skip. They'll send 70 applications with no follow-ups. So
yeah.
reach out, follow up
Mhm.
politely, and
Right.
you can even check in if you haven't heard anything, saying, "Hey, just want to make sure that my application was successfully submitted and you've at least cleared that hurdle." And
Yeah.
like I said, don't get discouraged by people not replying on LinkedIn quickly or
Mhm.
even at all. Sometimes, there's thousands of messages that come in. I don't get thousands, but I'm not on there all the time. So
Yeah.
that's awesome that you leverage that too.
Mhm.
You also mentioned you did a study group.
Yeah.
So that helps a ton. Finding a mentor, Azeem, that's another great piece of advice. And
Mhm.
then you covered the networking piece of Snugs, so ServiceNow user groups. So many
Yes.
local areas have a ServiceNow user group, and this is a daily an event that goes on over the course of one day. It's put on by ServiceNow and usually local ServiceNow partners who implement things within it. So those are
Mhm.
great to sign up for. You can look on the community and in the events page to find those out. And then also there are ServiceNow forums, which is
Yeah.
happening in some areas. So Azim and I are actually going to meet in person in 2 weeks
Oh, excited.
at the Canadian Federal Forum, which is a forum for Canadian federal government. There's also the Knowledge Conference as well. And one other piece is developer meetups. So your city may have a developer meetup, and that
Mhm.
happens informally, usually about once a quarter. We're very fortunate in Vancouver. We've got great developer meetup and engagement on that side. That's run by Glenn, Jason, and Manette Esparcia as well, who are also guests on the podcast earlier. So those are some great networking opportunities because, like you said, Elwin, people want to see your face at least once or twice a year. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I'm actually flying to Ontario is to face to face with the client.
Yeah.
So we covered a bunch of things. So let's move on to the interview process piece though. So you said you did about 70 plus interviews. 70 plus
Application.
applications.
Yeah.
How
Mhm.
many interviews did that lead to? And the reason I'm asking is so that people kind of know maybe I have to apply to 50 places to get one shot at an interview. And so about how many interviews from the 70 applications did you receive?
Okay. Thanks for asking that. I just wanted to make a little correction. LinkedIn is not
Mhm.
bad. You can still apply on LinkedIn. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
also saying that, yeah, I did some on LinkedIn, but go to the real websites. I wanted to
Yeah.
mention. Okay,
Yeah, I was
so
kind sorry. I will just caveat that then, just to make sure we're all clear. Like, yeah, you can apply on LinkedIn,
yeah.
Indeed, all of those sites. But what
Mhm.
we haven't discussed on the past episodes was, going directly to those career websites. And you can
Right.
work with recruiters too. There's many different tools to go out there. What worked for Elwin this time was direct applications on the website. So
Yeah.
back to the applications. You
Interview.
used 70 plus applications. About how many interviews did that lead to?
So I would say I did a total of maybe six.
Okay.
Three from my company, well, the company that I'll be working for Monday, and then 3 from other companies. This is one thing that I would tell people. Just getting certifications will not get you the job. Like I said, certifications are really good because it tells people that you know about the platform, development stuff, you know this, you know that. But like I said, the networking is also very important. So one of the things I would say is, so I did one interview with the recruiter for the company I'll be working for. And then my second interview was with the hiring manager. And then my final interview was with the whole team. It was about 5 people. And I was like, oh my God. When I got on there, I was very calm. You always have to remember this. Take a deep breath before you get on there. When I saw all of them, of course, I had spoken to my hiring manager before and communicated with my director, the platform owner through LinkedIn, but it was my first time talking to all of them. And so I'll be honest and I'll be biased. This team, there was just something about them. When I got on there, my final interview, I was very calm and very relaxed. I felt very welcomed. They were very nice. They were actually at the going to the knowledge event. And I knew they were tired. I knew they had so much going on, but it was just perfect. The conversation flowed be yourself. That's one thing I say. When you're having the interviews, be yourself, let them know what you know, but if you don't know something, be honest and upfront about it, but also let them know that you're open to learning, you're willing to learn, right? And so that was one of the things that I did in my interview. The other interviews, 2 of them were pre-screened with recruiters, right? A lot of them don't want to hear that, you're from the next gen program. They don't want to hear, like, the moment you start speaking, they're like, okay, they ask you all the questions and then you don't hear back. Don't take that personal. Even if you're not from the next gen, that's like for people that don't have a lot of experience, less than a year experience on the platform. Make sure that you are very confident and speak to your skill sets and the projects that you've done, like I said. So total about 6. The recruiter ones are usually the hardest ones because a lot of the recruiters are trained, okay? They know what they're looking for. They already have the answers. So make sure that you are well prepared because the recruiter is usually the one that moves you to the next stage before you meet the hiring manager. So when you go through those ones and then they have like dates and stuff, be ready to get on the dates. That's one thing that I did with my recruiter. She asked me a lot of questions. And so initially I was like, wait, are recruiters supposed to be asking a lot of questions like this? But I realized it's routine. It's like it's normal in technology. They have to ask you some of the technical questions, and I'm glad. And so when she said there was a date and stuff, I went ahead and I took the most available date. So with my hiring manager, we also had a very good conversation. They asked you, that's where all the technical questions come from, a lot of them. They ask you to see your knowledge, what you've done, your past work, and all of that. And so with the final one with the team, there was also some technical questions, but also more of what they do, meeting the other teams and all of that. Be honest, like I said, be open, be willing to learn, listen to what they have to say, and also present. And so that's what I did. I didn't hear back from a lot of the companies that I applied for, a lot of rejection emails, but I didn't let that discourage me. I just kept going, Azeem. That's what I did.
That's
And
awesome. Yeah, so 70 plus interviews led
let me
to
plus application.
3 interview, or sorry, you're right. I've got my wrong notes here. 70. Thank you for the correction. Appreciate it. So 70 plus applications led to 3 interviews at one place that landed to the job,
Mhm.
and then 3 other first round interviews with 3 separate companies. So that was a
Company.
total of 4 organizations you met with, and one went through to the end. So if
Yes.
you are out there and applying, these are some real world numbers. Your experience may be you might have to apply for 3 times that many. So keep at it. Like Elwin said, her journey was focused on getting there, not on counting and stopping or meeting, some sort of application count or anything like that. So appreciate the detail that you've gone into there. That's fantastic. So, Azim's focus is mostly towards getting promoted within his organization, and that's a government organization. So there's some
Okay.
specific requirements that go along with that, meaning you have to wait for a position to open up, it has to be in the budget. So there's a lot of things around that we're going to kind of park,
Mhm.
because the focus is going to be more on what if somebody was looking to get your type of role. So we've got a wider application process than what Azim's focus is on. So I just wanted to call that out and make sure that we recognize, yes, he's trying to go from admin to developer within his federal government
Okay.
department. So Azim, I'd like to open the floor over to you. Are there any questions that you've got for Elwin? And then we've got about 20 minutes left, so
Sure.
just want to call the time out.
So
Okay.
I got few question which during the conversation Alvin already answered. So one of the thing question I had and we haven't touched. So Alvin, you mentioned you did a career move from healthcare to tech side. What
Mhm.
you think was the biggest obstacle or hurdle in that path, and what made you to stick to your ground and have that transition from healthcare to tech care?
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate that question. So, first of all, we have a lot of skill sets. Remember, I was talking about skill sets, right? You don't know till you actually get into whatever career that you are switching to. Now, technology is everywhere. Everybody is using technology. Like we say, we don't have experience, but we do. We really do. For example, I want to give an example. As a cashier at a store, Walmart, you go on there, you do training. And I'm speaking to this because I want you to kind of get where I'm going at. So you use the machines, to check people out. You have trainings that you have to do before you start working. So there is some experience there. For me, as a registered nurse, I use, like I said, the EMR systems. It's not only Epic. I have a lot of experience with different platforms. And then also, one of the things that actually caught my attention. Remember, when you talk to patients, you have to explain charts to them. Like I'm sure when you go for a doctor's appointment, they're telling you, okay, this is your trend, your cholesterol level to, it was this, now it's like down. They show you those charts if you take your children to appointments. It was those things that really made me interested. So using the charts, like I said, communicating with different interdisciplinary teams. We also had epic rollouts. I kind of like joined. I was excited, going live, like teaching other nurses. And also, as in we use all these platforms, Zoom, Canvas, things that we don't even think of. So that was the first thing for me, right? Because when I got that, I was like, wait, I don't have any technical experience. No, I do. I've used all of these things and I'm going to leverage it into ServiceNow, like, and speak about my past experience and then the skill sets that I have and use that. The biggest hurdle for me, though, was that when I got into the tech space, tech is very different from healthcare. Like I said, a lot of us are not on LinkedIn. I realized that the biggest challenge for me was you have to really go out there and get it, right? You have to put in a lot of effort. There's a lot of competition. There's competition in healthcare, but the competition in IT is different. Like it's really different. So I had to really adapt to those ways, learn what others are doing, what has worked for them to get to where I was. So the networking, like I said, I know how to speak to people one on one because I learned that from nursing, right? Communication. And so I used that opportunity to get out there and network and to reach out to people because you meet people first day on the floor or maybe in the doctor's office. They come in, you have never met the new patient. You have to establish a rapport. You have to create a relationship with them. So that helped me out a lot also in reaching out to people. That honestly was my biggest hurdle. Now, learning the ServiceNow platform.
Oh, sorry, if I can
Okay, go
just
ahead.
interject there for one
Yes.
thing. In
Yeah.
addition to the communication skills, I think we kind of glossed over one key point is that you were communicating something to somebody that may not necessarily understand or have that background and knowledge. So
Mm-hmm.
I go to to my practitioner, and they need to communicate healthcare related things to me, and if I'm honest, I don't really understand a lot of it, so they have to communicate it in a way that I can comprehend it and then
Mm-hmm.
make that informed decision. This
Yeah.
happens every single day in IT,
Yes.
where why do we align it to this product, or why are we
Mm-hmm.
implementing it this way, or why is it better to align or build this and use out of the box functionality versus a custom approach. So all of
Mm-hmm.
those types of things come into play. So you had that skill set. So it wasn't, I would even say it's like communication plus, because
Thank
I can communicate, but and send a message across and make sure someone understands it. But to
you.
have something that they may not necessarily have a background in,
Mm-hmm.
if my dad owned a mechanic shop, I don't know. He's like, oh, you need this kind of part. Oh, okay. then put it in. I don't know where it goes or what
Hey,
it
my dad
does,
is a
but
mechanic too.
oh, is he? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, my dad
That's
is a
so
mechanic too. Yeah.
nice. So we have that in common. So I just wanted to make sure that we know that these types of communication skills, there's different levels and different applications of them. Azeem, next question.
Yes.
Did
So
I answer the question, Azim? Did I
yes.
answer the
Yeah.
question?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you. During the interviews, like you shifting, let's say, from admin role to development role. So during the interview, like obviously you shifting from one side to another, and the other side is a bit techy and high level. So
Mhm.
what approach you use? Like, let's say if somebody asks you a question and you do not know, what's the best approach to answer that?
Okay, so again, switching to I felt like I was doing admin and developer right like at the get-go, because truly the next gen program does prepare you. Like, we did some of the development stuff during the admin course, JavaScript, flow designer, like we're doing all of these things. And so I started on the journey already, like before I even like got out. And so yes, speaking to what I don't know, that's a big one. I always tell people, when you get in the interviews and you're speaking to your past experiences, for you, Azim, you already have some admin, you've done a lot of work in the admin role, now going to developer. If they ask you a question that you don't know, first of all, be honest about it, right? Because when you fumble, they will see, they know that you don't know. So be honest and say, hey, you know what? I touched a little bit on this, or I read a little bit about this, or we did a little, I learned a little bit for your situation, Azim. I did a self-paced learning thing about this. But one thing that I would do is I will definitely go back to product documentation. We have the product documentation. I will go back to try my hands on the platform. I will reach out to the ServiceNow community, my mentor, see if somebody can help me with these things, do real research on these things. And then, of course, I will reach out to my senior developer, and it's going to go up the ladder like that. But be honest with them and tell them that you don't know, but you are willing and ready to learn. And that's one of the things about me. And that's what
Yeah.
I would say in your interviews. Yeah.
And that's fantastic. I say I don't know all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
And, so Elwin, sometimes you'll go with senior dev, it comes up, finally it lands, at the architect level, and I go,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never worked with that module,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a really, sticky edge case or something along those lines. It's like, okay, I need to be honest and say I need some time to research it. And that was the key point that I think you touched on, is
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know, but I'm going to go find out. And
Yeah.
then you leverage the multiple avenues or tools in your tool belt to go find that answer, whether it be product documentation, community, developer site, experimenting in a PDI to see if you
Mm-hmm.
can figure it out on your own, or leveraging your network
Yeah.
Yes.
and things along those
And
lines.
I just like to add a note, like one of our mutual friend, PAMT, Paul McNamara, he always said that if you doing an interview, you don't know anything, just add a last note that, hey, I have a mad Googling skills. I can go and find that for you. So I think it's a great way to kind of answer that. Just adding this for the benefit of everyone.
Yeah, you can just call yourself the Google Whisperer.
Yeah.
Okay, Azim, next question, and then we'll wrap it at this one and do a recap. So,
Okay,
thank you.
perfect. One last question, Alvin. You just mentioned that you did some courses on Code Academy, which helped you. So, if you
Mhm.
can please mention those, I would love to
Yeah.
explore those as well.
Okay, yeah, sure. Actually, this was a requirement from ServiceNow. So it's
Oh,
JavaScript, Code Academy. There's one that I can think on top of my head right now, but I'll find it for you and make sure I send that to you. And
okay.
so there's also scripting on the Now Learning platform that you can also do. But I always tell people if you don't have any experience at all with the JavaScript, try the Code Academy first because you get real hands-on experience, like real time, and they give you real time, like if you're wrong or right, doing all the stuff that they ask you. So that's a great one. There's a lot of YouTube videos. Chuck has a lot of videos on YouTube for scripting and also different people, SaaS with ServiceNow, really great people out there that you can watch their YouTube. Another thing also for you, Azeem, is listen to podcasts. Every day things are changing in ServiceNow. New updates, new releases. Like listen, follow these people and see what they're posting. Read the articles, like read the stuff. That's one thing research has helped me a lot. From my nursing background, we do a lot of research. So you get on there, you see them write about something that is related to what you're doing, or even not related. Be curious, read about them, listen to these podcasts, listen to what people are doing. I think Chuck also has like this creator thing on podcast. I forgot what the title is exactly, but he does it with Lauren. They are both developers. Go on there and listen. CJ and Duke, like there's so many resources, Azim. Like I can't even mention all of them. Just get yourself in there and you will be surprised the amount, wealth of information that you will get. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Azim, actually, we may have time for one more if you did have another one.
Mhm.
Um,
Not to put you on the spot.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. So I just did,
Oh,
I
it's
wasn't
okay
sure
if
if you
he
had
has.
another one lined up or not. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
just do a bit of a recap here. So Azim's journey is focused primarily on getting promoted within his existing Canadian federal
Mm.
government agency. He's looking to
Yeah.
move from the admin role into a developer role, but there are many things that have to happen that are outside of our control.
Mhm.
In his case, a position has to be opened up in the union.
Mhm.
There's an application process and things along that line. Sometimes no new positions are created due to budgetary reasons and things like that. So the discussion part of our podcast is much more general, so that we can kind of open the floor to a wider audience and
Mhm.
say, okay, if you're looking to get that developer role anywhere, that's the focus of the discussion, even though Azim's journey is a little different. He's still going through some of his certifications. He leveraged a free golden ticket to go to Knowledge 2023.
Oh,
Then Knowledge
amazing.
2023 gave out some Now Learning golden tickets, which gave him a year's worth of free on demand courses. He leveraged all of that, got 9 mainline certifications and counting. So he's been excellent on taking advantage of things that have come across his way that may not happen to you, the listener. Now, Elwin's journey is also different. She went from healthcare to IT. She went through the next gen program, got the CSA, CAD, and then she, had some initiative and went through the Code Academy coding courses.
Mhm.
And she's done some networking things at a snug in her local area. In
Mhm.
her application process, she went through and submitted over 70 applications that led to 4 companies or organizations responding. Uh,
Mhm.
Out of those 4 interviews, one company pushed to the next interview and then finally got to the last interview. And she is starting her new job on Monday, first Monday in June of 2024.
Yeah.
She also had some unique advantages like resume building and LinkedIn profile guidance directly from ServiceNow. So that helped her make sure her resume was ATS friendly. and that she was also able to continue following up on these applications. She tailored her applications to the specific role that she was applying for, and then she also was reaching out after she applied to follow up. One of the big things that I found and learned was that you really have a fantastic attitude for that application process. There can be a lot of rejection and there can be a lot of ghosting.
Mm.
So you really didn't let that discourage you. You kind of said, okay, my response is no response. Am I
Mm-hmm.
going to let that stop me? And you said no, and you kept going. So
Yes.
that's what we want to encourage everyone that's listening and going through this, that your response may be no response, and
Mm.
that's okay. Keep moving forward. Don't apply and wait. Don't apply and hold out. And if the response doesn't come in, don't stop.
Yeah.
Always
Follow up.
keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You joined a study group, Elwin, which was incredible. You found some mentorship opportunities and leveraged all of those.
Yep.
And then when you went through the interview process, you were open and honest on what you knew, what
Mm-hmm.
you needed to still learn, and you had a way to communicate that I don't know what this answer, but here's how
Mm-hmm.
I would go about finding out.
Yeah.
And that was an excellent point. So thank you so much. The pleasure was all ours, Elwin, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of luck with your new journey starting
Mm-hmm.
next week. I think you have a couple people who joined us live that
Yeah.
helped you along that journey. So thank you
Yes.
for joining us. Azeem, as always, I look forward to meeting you in a couple weeks in person. So we'll do that real face-to-face networking. And in addition to that, keep going. I know that your journey is going to be a little different from the federal side of things, but there's nothing holding you back, and you're doing everything that you can within your power to continue to move forward.
Chris, I wanted to say, mention that I thank everybody. Thanks again for having me, Chris,
Oh, of
for bringing
course.
me on here, talking about my journey. I wanted to say thank you to Glenn. I see he's here on here
Yes.
supporting me. I really appreciate you, to Byron, to Ali. They are all I'm gonna be working with them. So I am just really overwhelmed. I thank them for their support. Every single thing that everybody is doing to impact my life, I really appreciate it. I hope my story brings a smile to your face. I hope it inspires you on your own journey. Remember, every step counts, whether you are in healthcare, whether you are in ServiceNow, IT, or somewhere in between. Keep dreaming big, keep learning, keep spreading that positive energy, and everything will come down to what you really want to do. Just go for it. That's all I want to say.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate everybody that helped contribute this. Yeah, like speaking of your networking thing, this podcast wouldn't have happened without Glenn connecting us. So network. I
Yeah,
actually typed it
network,
on a LinkedIn
network,
a message for
network.
that. So yeah, thank you. Okay, well, have a great
Okay.
day, everybody. Thank you again for your time. And
Thank
for those
you.
listening, thank you again
Uh-huh.
for listening at your own convenience. Have a
Yeah.
great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.